'Cause that's a pretty bigger job, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's probably like the grass or something.
All of a sudden, that stuff.
Yep.
Go ahead, call the meeting in order.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
First on our agenda is community corrections, Mr. Matt Cruz.
This is a new approach. Come on up. I have Megan Johnson with me as well. She's our Circle Court case manager for the Stark employee as well. Commissioners, what we'd like to propose to you all is merely with the opioid settlement funding that's coming into Stark County, or it's came to Stark County. Maybe an ad hoc committee to look at requests, because people, if they haven't already requested funding, are going to be requesting funding. I'm sure you're educated on the parameters of what the funding can go to. There's a lot of funding out there for probation, parole, community corrections, supervision, and treatment services. And Megan and I have had some conversations about this as well too. Maybe having a small ad hoc committee of a few people. Not to discredit anybody from any particular agency. It can go on a rotation basis. There can be a representative for corrections, the sheriff's department, the court, treatment, EMS, somebody else. I mean, but really looking at proposals, I'm assuming once you start to get proposals and where they can maybe direct the council on how to appropriately spend the funding, or recommend to the council, my apologies, on how to appropriate some of the funding. Because it's relatively a new process, is our understanding, and Megan's done a little research with some other agencies and other counties, and they're trying to also develop a more formalized process of how to do this. So basically, that's the reason we're here today, to provide any assistance on that if it's needed, and make that recommendation at least for consideration. Did I state that okay?
Yeah, I think the idea is that we have this money in Stark County, and rather than be reactive to it, just sort of to be proactive and be thoughtful about how we want to spend it and ensure that it's being used effectively, I suppose.
So are you wanting to set up a committee, or you want us to, or?
Really just wanted to broach the discussion point. I mean, I could set a committee up. I don't want it to be a formalized thing because everybody's extremely busy, but maybe a monthly meeting, an ad hoc committee if needed. We'll find a formula. We can propose some things, I suppose, to the commissioners on, again, not to exclude certain entities from participation, but I don't want to be an overburden and say, okay, we need like our advisory board committee of 12 members. And then we have to have a quorum vote. You know, with everybody's schedules being tight and everything, the last thing we want to do is do that and have more red tape. But we can propose an idea to the council if you see fit, and maybe a rotation basis who would like to participate, whose schedules allow them to participate, because ultimately it involves a collaboration piece throughout the county. And there's a lot of collaboration that occurs now with the sheriff's department, circuit court, other people in the county. So it's really just more of a collaboration.
Right. Is this something you envision to be a committee that hears these proposals once, makes a decision and disbands, or is this something that'll persist over the 18-year payout period of the settlement?
That's a great question, and I would assume the way I envision it, it will meet as needed. Because again, I don't know how much funding's out there, quite honestly. I don't know how much the commissioners would consider funding to any request. But just so that committee could come to the commissioners prior to a meeting or prior to a decision being made, basically said, we think this is a great recommendation for utilization of funding. Maybe you guys might want to table this or ask some more questions about this recommendation for funding.
Right.
So really at the pleasure of the commissioners, I would assume, for the duration of funding.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Sure.
Pull together a list of potential committee members. Let us get a once over on them, make sure every potential stakeholder organization is covered, and get rolling on accepting proposals. I think that sounds like a pretty good plan.
Sure.
Is that something you would like us to work on, or is that something you would like to?
Yeah,
I
I'll make the motion to instruct Mr. Maxroth to form a list of potential committee members for our review, and we'll approve the creation of an ad hoc committee to evaluate the opioid use of opioid settlement funds at our next meeting.
Second, all those in favor?
Thank you.
Thank
so
you,
much.
Commissioner, appreciate it.
Don't go anywhere, Sean.
Yes, ma'am.
This is just for our support, for the grants that you would apply for.
It's for our IDLC funding grants, Commissioners, it's standard issue. It includes all 3 grant funded programs, our jail treatment program, our community corrections program, and our probation pretrial program.
I'll make the motion to approve this letter, which reads in part. Included in this application are funding requests for the Stark County Community Corrections, Stark County Justice Center, and Stark County Circuit Court Probation Department. In accordance with IC 11-2- IC 11-12-2-3. The advisory board has also approved the application of the budget. Total amount of the request is $483,377.58.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
You can go ahead and take that with you too.
I'm sorry,
You can go ahead and take that with you too.
it's all dismissed after I get that letter. That's, thank you. And thanks again, Commissioners, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Your trip.
You're the best, Sean.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
We have, Larry. Larry.
We are finishing up the donation for the animals to the Knox City Fire Department for the dive team. So I think all the paperwork is done. Looking for our signature and we're ready to move on.
Do we need to make another motion on this? Because we've already.
Yeah, you need to approve those two. Yeah.
Make a motion to approve this resolution providing for the donation of equipment owned by Stark County to the city of Knox and the equipment donation agreement as presented.
All in favor?
You want to sign this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably-
This one.
Right.
Probably keep the original. Video.
Just his on this, is it enough, right?
Any questions or anything?
How's things going? The okay. There's nothing else you want to, any particulars you want to share?
Nope,
All right.
everything looks good, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
It sounds like we have some EMS students coming up to the ranks. I had a couple call me about getting hold of Larry to do some riot training and things like that. So that's kind of exciting. We got
that's
people in the community wanting to do it.
Yeah, good. Then,
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
I guess we'll back here about, stuff at the jail there. Yes, sir.
So where are we at? Bring us up to speed.
Well, Dave had been shopping around our server issue. That we're gonna be able to get the old one repaired for significant less money than get the new one or just trying to patch it. So that's where we're at. We're also looking at some blocks that are messed up that we've sent we sent that stuff out to the company to see if there's anything they can do to help sell on the lots, but the server should be done pretty quick.
If you want me to talk about the lot.
Sure.
But, Jack,
Yeah, but
so, and, I mentioned to Mark when I saw him at the meeting, just so we don't violate ODL or anything like that, I've been letting Don know, because he's in charge of the jail, so this has been all through the commissioners, you know, as this, and the sheriff's, you know, going on. There was some difficulty getting a hold, so when our jail got built, the locks were subcontracted to this company called LaForce. Stanley did the frames and the card readers and some other things, and so there are multiple companies on so many different things. Well, the decision was made by our builder to go with these LaForce locks. And it turns out that these LaForce locks are obsolete. So there was some concerns, and so that means they're not repairable. Now, there were concerns to whether if we just replace those locks within the existing doors and that they wouldn't be compatible with our S2 software. The powers that be have all agreed that there was two, and I had shared that with you guys, there was two different locks. It turned, Stanley thinks they're actually the same lock technically, they're just labeled by another company. They can retrofit those locks. Jack had to, Jack actually did some work looking at the doors and the frames. Because they do have to modify the door with a plate in one area, just because it's a different lock. Where that would run into trouble, and I can vouch for this because I'm a certified building inspector through the fire side, that when you if it was a fire door, it would be a problem. But they're wood slab doors. And so I did ask him, I said, well, doors can't be that awfully expensive. What about maybe just changing the door slab itself and having the new lock? And he said, you know, availability of doors. And then manpower. Nobody has manpower. He said your best thing to do is just get that door fixed. The concern that Richard had was that the reader wouldn't be compatible with the S2, so we had to wait, talk to S2, talk to the manufacturer of this lock, and everything looks like it should be doable. So the sheriff's department took pictures. I forwarded those to the LaForce lock guy, and then we'll just defer to them, you know, in the future how to do that. I mentioned earlier too that Stanley has also mentioned the possibility, Richard asked them to price a service contract for us. They've got some options there. That'll buy us some time too, but that may not be a bad idea. You know, Mark obviously has a lot of IT, so I was just mentioning that when he came in, that one thing they did preface though was that if you don't get the new servers, then we can't really, you know, like have that part of the service contract. So I don't know. I think we need to look at it real well to see if it's worth it then.
right,
But I think around 14,000, like it was 12 months, 1,200 a month, and then 12 months. So it's like 14,400, I think, for like you know, to cover most of the things. But I don't know, aside from this, I don't know if you really spent that much. I don't know if it would benefit you as much, but at least it's kind of like our radio contract, you know, we're kind of debating that right now too, but it's a lot less money.
yeah,
So
overall, it's a ton less.
but we have that, and I was up to the sheriff and, you know, up to the commissioners, but I think just getting this done right now buys us some time. We get the information about the locks, and then you can make your decision about, because there were like 4 levels on the service contract. I think Richard sent it. Did you forward it to, or because I only sent it to Jack and Don, but
So what I got out of watching the video of your meeting last Friday was that it needed the Band-Aid. And that Band-Aid was gonna cost 30 grand.
32, yeah.
Um,
So we approved up to 32, 333, so you've got approved from ARPA.
So to me, what I'm hearing is the question before us. Are we going to authorize that amount to be spent to fix the material deficiencies that Jack needs to address here?
And that would be up to like 7 years, right, Dave? Guarantee, you know what I mean, the 32 would cover for 7 years too. If we could spend it.
Yeah,
The
well,
argument even from them though, was that even a new one, the drives can go bad. So
Right.
right now, this gets you back up on your feet
Right,
for
yeah,
a few
right.
thousand.
Not waiting.
Or, I think it's 1,000.
yeah, my concern right now is getting the immediate discrepancy solved and then doing a deep dive on the entire facility on what needs to be brought back up to the standard we set and demanded when the jail was originally built. So, and that's what I'm going to rely on you for, to investigate and make sure we got
Well,
You-
get you
you're-
the best bang for your buck, I can guarantee
Right.
you.
Right,
And I think we'll probably have to quote maybe in the next 2 weeks for those locks, I'm guessing, is that. I will admit though, these people, getting a hold of them, getting everybody to talk, return calls, it was rough. I
It's
mean,
hard.
it was, but now this Gary Hedge, we kind of have a relationship with them and this Mickey White, like, they're like, hey, we'll help you guys. I mean, they agree even like, just right at 7 years old, that is a little bit young, have as many issues, but. As far as POE, here's the other thing too. As far as POE locks are concerned, I think I was telling Jack this and I might have told Don. That particular brand, almost all of those failed, but now they also have battery powered ones. And so it's nice with the newer technology because the POEs, you have to have a license for each lock. The battery powered ones, you don't. So,
That's
like
a
down,
big deal. right
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
right. So down the road, if there's updates, like for now, like if you just get the 6 that are broken, but maybe down the road, once if then hopefully they won't, but if things start failing again, it buys you a little time to think about what the options are, for upgrades and maybe something more economical, but in hindsight, it's just like, it sounds like I don't know how it happened, but it seemed like so many things at that jail. We were right on the verge of it. Like as soon as we built it, everything was obsolete. Air
Right.
conditioning, heating, the auger system, the locks, you know what I mean? It was almost like, well, it's kind of like when I buy a cell phone, I'll say, are you sure I'm getting the newest one? And then the next week,
Yeah.
the S59 comes out or whatever. I was like, you just told me the S58 was the latest and greatest, but we're really suffering from a lot of that. But I think, this way it'll buy you some time. There won't be as many safety issues and things like that. We're back up on our feet. And it sounds like people are communicating with us a little bit more, which is important too, because like I said, I will admit that it was hard to get everybody rounded up and.
And I know Jack wanted to upgrade a couple cameras, and they said we could do that. We couldn't upgrade them all on that server, but we could upgrade a few. Well, that'll help us in that area too.
anything else we need to address, or are we ready to move forward?
I
with the
think we're
budget?
ready.
Well, I'll make the motion to authorize the expenditure of up to $32,000 of ARPA funds to address any material deficiencies that Jack finds at the jail and sheriff's office.
We'll try to, we'll be as frugal as we can do. I promise you guys.
I know you will.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can you do 3209?
Oh, I'll amend the motion to be 32,000
094.
$94.
Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if you were trying to make it 94 cents or $94. Okay, $3,094.
Thank
Thank you guys so much.
Is that just because that's the number they gave them Friday?
Yeah.
Then we have the rezoning request.
Thanks, Rich.
If you'd like us out there, if you would like to come up here.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, basically, no. You're wanting to just rezone that parcel. From residential to ag. That's basically it.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say,
Do
the
we
planning commission,
do you want to give them an opportunity to say anything further, or are we at the point where?
we're here to answer questions.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and do it. After I went out and seen the lot, it wasn't the lot I thought it was. I think we need to do it.
I'll second.
Those in favor?
All right.
All those opposed? Aye.
There you go.
Thanks for coming back.
Payroll claims. Motion to approve the amount of $280,029.93.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the payroll claims in the amount of $275,612.47.
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye.
Please take note, this is how fast your meetings are supposed to go.
You know what, you read my mind, I tried. It's Tony's fault.
It
Sitting
is.
Right here.
We got to do this Friday.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, buddy.
See if we can beat the record.
We had one that was only like 18 minutes. wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was like 9 minutes. Yeah.
The motion to approve the vendor claims in the amount of $303,598.68.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Rachel's car alarm going off. It's not
My car.
Motion to approve the minutes for Monday, March 20th, 2023.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We have, hospital board appointment. I believe we finally got a little bit of answers from the hospital on it. And Justin advised us. Basically.
What are,
Mhm.
you know, what we're bound, actually bound by and not bound by.
Basically, as it sits, I believe. First can stay on that, so.
We need to reaffirm that appointment.
Okay.
For Dolores, yeah. And we're sure she still wants on there.
We're sure she still wants to be there, right? Pardon? She still wants to,
That's correct.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion
This will make.
to affirm the appointment of Dolores Bennett to the health board
I'll
or the
second.
hospital board.
I'll second.
All
That's a
those in
different
favor?
retirement. Right?
Then we got, roofs quotes.
Yeah. Danny, do you have all the same ones I got? I don't even know. I don't even know what company that is.
Is that my note or did you have another one?
Yeah.
It's some guy from one.
Some guy from Winnemac.
John.
Okay. Jose Gala. Okay. And then
if we did go in, you definitely have to.
Yeah, you tend to have.
There's Knox Roofing, Ryan Reese. Energy Efficient Roofing. And Amos Schwartz Construction. And it looks like Amos Schwartz came in lowest.
And that,
That's the one I seen the other day. I'm trying to think which one I seen the other day. Yeah,
that was for 10.
The only thing that worries me is none of these that we got address the tower, the vent towers, or how we talk about it.
I thought I was.
But I mean, if,
Cause I believe on the towers, there was,
well, and that would, and that's gonna be addressed because it's this side of the building, it's whatever's on top of the tower.
right.
Cause I don't think anybody got a ladder to go up there, no, to take a look.
you know, under. I don't know what it would take to. Something need to be repaired on them.
But he put the roof on the tower started.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We bid or we had asked a couple.
Well. I think we need to start moving forward, I mean, and.
Well, definitely, yeah, but
Yeah, cause
Yeah.
everybody's gonna be getting busy.
And, yeah, and then if something further is found. While they're doing that, the repair work, we're gonna obligate ourselves to today. We revisit our options.
If they come up with something else while they're up there, well, if it needs fixed, it needs.
I just wonder why they wouldn't check the tower and whether.
Yeah.
I hate starting,
I
and
know,
then they come back and have the same price for the tower.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I hate to do it today.
Yeah.
I like this one, but. I think we need a bid on the tower before we're okay.
Yeah, I guess if we can get something by our next meeting,
okay,
then we'll deal with it then. So we're gonna have Ricky.
get with them and tell them to look at,
Yeah.
evaluate the tower as well and do that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool,
And if we need to do it quicker, I mean, once it does, we can call, put me, whatever,
Special
Right.
session.
yeah,
to get it rolling. I just hate to give them part of it, and then they charge us double for the tower,
yeah,
which isn't much, but it's, while they're up there.
yeah.
Exactly. What's this for, Richard? These.
This is what we've already approved.
Oh, further.
This is for the jail.
Need anything else for us, Don?
Nope, I know.
Mark?
Yeah, and it's unfortunate Justin isn't here because he's probably the one with the answer. Because if you'll recall, we had an executive to discuss a property someone wanted to buy off of us. Well, since then, there's another property that someone else wants to buy off of us. So we need to know what procedure we have to follow to sell off some of these properties we own now. But he's not here, so I don't think we have an answer.
I do got one thing. That Mark's done,
Yeah, that's it, that's it.
just to take it back to the planning commission and, ask them to look, relook at their buffer.
Oh,
Well, they're close to
on
town.
the solar ordinance, yeah.
I know we can't do nothing today, or
No, yeah,
gotta be redone or ordinance. But just when it's close to town, we get bigger buffers.
double there.
That's all I got.
Yeah, on the next agenda, we bring it, to make sure we bring up the status.
About property.
Yes.
You got anything for us, Rachel?
Yes. I talked to Charlie this week and we decided to move forward with a courtesy to apply for an additional $350,000 for small businesses. So if we would receive that money, are you listening, Mitch?
Wake up.
This week, we applied for an additional $250,000 through courtesy for the COVID relief funds for small businesses. If we do receive that, we can give 25 businesses up to $10,000 each. There is no match. And it would be offered to those businesses that received it in the first round. First, and then.
Yeah, sounds like a good deal.
That'd be awesome.
Which really, there was only 10 businesses that received it in the first round, so there's a possible addition of 15 more businesses on top of that back then. And the only stipulation is that this small businesses have to have under 100 employees. And it can't be nonprofit.
Completely separate. I'm surprised Mandy isn't here because she came up to us earlier. But yeah, I just got a note about the food drive that 1,890 items were collected from all of our departments. So we should, yeah, we definitely need to do an event in appreciation.
Well, you know, I owe them lunch. I told them I would, so I asked them if they wanted pizza and wings. I don't think they responded.
I didn't see a response to that, yeah.
I got it. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm happy.
But
for it.
yeah, that was,
So,
It's gonna be like
Whatever they
a
want.
steak dinner day for everyone.
whatever. As long as it doesn't exceed my
Stage.
paycheck for a year.
What about that you brought up, or you about the food drive?
I mean, it's just my thoughts, but I think we have still quite a bit of ARPA money left, and I know that. Where there's places that need it, but I think we should give the community services like $10,000 for their food bank because. It's needed now, especially with food prices, and 10,000 is not, I mean, in what we're working with, it's not a lot.
Right.
well, it was a lot, it was a lot a couple of years ago because we had to fight to get it back in the budget.
Right.
I'm not necessarily opposed to that though.
I know.
I'm not.
I'll make a motion.
But they haven't come to us with a request. Are you
Right.
requesting? I mean, you can't request on their.
Why can't I request it?
Can you?
No, not, why
You're the auditor.
wouldn't I be able to request it? It's a nonprofit organization, I'm the
Well-
auditor of Stark County, why not?
They even know you're requesting it? I mean,
No.
like, you might want to clear that with them first, like.
They turned down $10,000 for their food bank. She was at their last meeting saying how low they are, and how they're not getting money.
Nonprofits, this is nice to know sometimes what's going on. It's like sometimes you might be in the middle of receiving some kind of grant or you don't have the space. You can't put it in your account right now. I'm just saying.
How about if
Let's
Commissioner-
reword it,
Let's,
that, make a motion that you check with them. And if they could accept it,
I'll second.
you know what I mean? So,
Yes.
like Dave, we don't want to mess something up for them.
And how about I have, since you guys have to approve it too,
Yeah.
how about I have her at your next
Yeah.
meeting? Verify
That's a
that.
good idea.
That's
That's
what I-
you realize this is gonna open up a floodgate though.
Yeah.
There's tons of people asking about the ARPA money. I'm trying to explain. We have a bunch of county projects that we need to get done.
And we've been too piecemeal with it so far. I mean, it is a good cause, but, and I'm willing to go along with, investigating the option to give them a little more because they are a deserving organization, but we need to finalize our plans because my priorities are first are the material condition of our buildings. We've heard jail needs work. This building needs work, courthouse needs work. I'm sure there's something we don't know about over in the old jail, the warehouse, the facilities at the highway garage, maybe to a lesser extent because they have other funding sources.
No, I would at least, this is just me thinking out loud, I would at least look at spending half of it. We're halfway there. spend half of it. See what we need with the
Right.
first half of it. And then we still got another year to see what our economic shortfall is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get too far ahead on that, like. Some of you have seen some of the emails. I've got fire departments, beating me up and just like,
There's.
Charlie saw that.
From outside the county, there's at least 4 other major projects
Yeah.
requests.
I met with Steuben County today. They got 7.7 million. They spread some around. They spent a bunch of it on broadband. It's the reason why we were on there for it. You know what I'm saying? But. You just have to be really careful when it comes to county. It has to be things that affect the whole county. So I agree that community services, those kind of things are things that do. But, we had a whole list of things that the courthouse needs. Air conditioning's coming up. We've got a sidewalk that we want to make handicap accessible. That money's gonna go by very quickly and it still benefits the whole public that we're here.
Dave, give you credit, you weren't at the meeting that she was here. When she talked about how the Northern Indiana Food Bank, that's where they usually get a lot of pallets from. For the past 2 months, they got a whole pallet of pistachios, and that's it. They've been getting less and less from the Northern Indiana
We
Food
need to
Bank.
see if we can talk to them because St. Joe County was just on television the other day with this whole warehouse full of stuff that they got from them. So. Sounds like we're getting shortchanged in Stark County. We've got problems with that too, but. I'm just cautioning that, like I said, you saw what I went through with that. And I even found them the money and they were still mad because it wasn't coming from ARPA. That's just, that was the fight. It wasn't that they wanted those air bottles.
So where were we at in the motion of that? I don't remember.
It's your-
Did it go
So
through?
you guys will change to the half of it.
No, we're going to read. Rachel's going to reach out to community services and gauge their interest in receiving funds.
There we go.
And then we'll come back and decide if a appropriation request needs to be made to the council.
For the food bank. With
No.
You can hold my name to it. I'll vote yes if the commissioners recommend it. It's only one out of
You
six.
heard it.
You got
Tony
good points,
agrees.
though. I mean,
You
what
all
you brought
heard
up.
He said he's voting yes.
Yeah.
I think I caused enough commotion, that's it.
Sure,
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, it's not even.
I know,
6 o'clock yet.
we've only been here for 36 minutes. It could go on.
I know you can go on, but will you?
Anyone else have anything for us?
Go ahead, you can go first.
My name's Rhonda Stacy and this is my daughter Elizabeth and I will vote you guys and give you guys some stuff. I don't know what my email you guys read. I'm not going to take up much of their time just because they all have lives to at home, right? But I do know that you guys were left out of the last email that they did address quite professionally and thank you for that. So I first of all, I'm gonna hand log these out here. There's not many of you guys, so I was looking for them. So the first one is the letter that I received in the mail, and the second one is the email chain that was going on between me and you guys, and then you guys were all cut out. There's only a few of us, and I'm sorry, I don't know who is except for Dave, because we were like a few years apart in high school. But one of the reasons I'm here tonight is because I don't want you guys to think that I'm this horrible person that I'm being portrayed as by the what is her name, by Lori and the treasurer. Or by this attorney who I was hoping was here tonight, because I think she was very unprofessional in this email too. But basically I went into the office because I received this letter in the mail. Okay, and now mind you, my husband passed away. My husband of 30 years passed away 4 years ago. So I've been trying to deal with all this myself. He's dealt with it all these years. Okay. I gave her the check last year to go pay full year for my taxes, and she went and paid the 2 other properties I own because we have 4 different properties. Or I did. I signed some off to the kids. Okay. She went and paid them all. She called me on the way out and said, "Why are you paying the whole year?" So I know she paid them because she was questioning why I paid the whole year rather than half. Okay. So Lori, one of her statements was, "Well, how do I know that it was paid?" Correct, you don't. But I was, no, my daughter did, and why would she pay the other 2 and not mine?
Well, you
Okay,
should have gotten a receipt at the time, I would think, right?
correct.
Okay.
The problem is my house is under renovation, so 4 of my rooms in my house have been put in storage, so I don't have access to any of that at this point. I did, however, check my bank records, okay? There is no cancel check. So that tells me I wrote the check. I don't know if it got dropped. People make mistakes, could have fell off the desk, you know, it's happened, right? And that was my point to Lori. She said her office doesn't make mistakes. I find that hard to believe because I make them daily. I don't know who doesn't, you know. So my thing was, you know, you can look at my records. I've never been late. I thought they were paid, so I get this letter and I have highlighted at the bottom that says any property more than 2 installments behind will be eligible for tax sale. Okay, I'm a little freaked out about that. Mind you, this is the house we've raised our kids in. I thought they were paid. I had no idea. I had been in this office several times over the past few weeks, and I'm not sure if you were in the office when I was upstairs, because I was in all 3 offices because there was a problem signing the properties over. The names weren't correct. That was a whole other story.
The
And I don't think
the
I
three
ever
offices being,
Right, and then I was in the office across the stairs. But I was never, I write with
Okay.
you guys out of line. I'm very professional with them. But when I get this in the mail, which not only did that upset me, the statement at the bottom, but also the fact that I'd been in the office and I asked Lori, I said, does your computer system flag it? Is it like red or anything when you pull it up? And she said, yes. And I said, then why didn't somebody say, hey, do you know you have a problem? I've been in the office. But instead I get this letter, which I received 6 weeks after it's dated. Okay. My problem with that is, I mean, I'm a nurse, so I'm not nowhere near a lawyer. I'm nowhere near a public official. But I do know that backdating is illegal. I deal with federal and state auditors. That's what I do as a nurse. I go in with them before them. I work with them daily. I know this is that you can't do this. And she says, well, I can't control the post office. I get that. But at the same time, they were printing letters that day and they told me they were dated 2/2 and I was in the office on the 21st. So why were we printing letters that were dated 2/2 on 3/21 to be mailed out to the citizens? My problem with that is I work out of town, okay? I felt bad enough that it looks like I let this go for 6 weeks. What if I would have been out of town for work for 6 weeks? It could have been a total of 3 months before this was taken care of. Okay, and that's what I was trying to get to her, and she says that's not backdating. It is backdating. I said today's not 2/2. I get things happen. You may have a form letter once in a while that gets through, but to know you're still printing them, to me is wrong. And I know that other citizens that I've talked to have the same issue, that they're upset they got this letter. And I know I'm a little probably more emotional involved just because I am attached to this house because of my husband and I, you know, it's just not me not to pay my bills. Like I did go in that day, I paid those taxes, I paid the late fee and I paid this year's taxes. And I told Lori that if I find it, I plan the receipt. I said, you know, I don't have a problem paying it. I don't have a problem, but I do have a problem if I can find that stamped receipt. I think they need to give me the late fee back. And she kind of laughed at me. She questioned my nursing abilities, which to me is slander. She said to me, she goes, I feel sorry for your patience with your attitude, if you're really a nurse. As I was walking out the door, because I asked her to initial my receipt, which I have right here, both where I paid them. But I said, can you please initial this? And she said, no, I don't have to. And I said, okay, thank you. And I walked out the door. As I got to the doorway, she says, you have the type of day you deserve. I feel that's very unprofessional. I've worked on the other side of the desk. I mean, before I became a nurse, I had public service jobs. Even being a nurse, we get yelled at all the time, but you can't talk to people in that manner. I realized she's an elected official, and I didn't realize you guys couldn't do anything until Mr. Pierman talked to me, but my thing is she's still a representative of Stark County, and for her to be slandering me as a professional, that has no bearing on this. And just to let you know, she's still doing it. She was doing it at church and someone overheard her conversation with somebody talking about how unprofessional I was and she feels sorry for my patients if I am a nurse. I don't feel that's called for. This was just this Sunday. So I feel that it needs to be stopped. She's still a representative of Stark County and she can get you guys in trouble for defamation of character because I do have a professional license and she said this in front of everybody in her office as well as 2 people that were in office paying their taxes. So I have a problem with that, especially that it's continued. My other issue is when I sent this letter, well, I went to the mayor's office first, because like I said, I didn't know where to go with this, and he instructed me to contact. And you and get to file a complaint, and she said, we don't do that, but I asked for your guys' email address, which I emailed everyone. Dave responded, nobody else did, and then I responded back, Dave responded, and then Ms. Hines responded quite inappropriately. That maybe she should contact my mother and sister and have her here. That was the case where I was trying to get guardianship of my stepfather, who ultimately was taken home and starved to death. But that's a personal matter that I don't think she had any right to be bringing into this, and I felt like she was threatening to me if I came to this meeting. And I feel that that's illegal. If you read her statement, I highlighted it, I think it's on page 2. She also said that, I prefer not to go to court because of Dale's fees. That has nothing to do with it. The fact of the matter is, I've lived here all my life. I take pride in our county, and I want to see our county do well. In fact, I've been like on the cemetery boards and stuff, and I just, I really don't want to, I'm not the type of person that wants to do anything against the county, because I live here, other than make it better, and Stark County has improved a lot over the last few years. But I just feel like somebody needs to do something with her, and with Lori, that she can't treat the public like that. I mean, you just can't do that. And then as far as Ms. Hines, with her being an attorney, to me, her accusations about, my accusations being meritless. Well, here I am. She said I wouldn't pretty much show up or do anything about it. I'm here to tell you I will. I used to be very meek, but since my husband died, I've learned you can't do that. You have to stand up for yourself. And then she said I went to 2 other offices that morning. I don't know if you guys have cameras in the building. I did not. And that I was raising hell in the other 2 offices. And here's your attestation that I was not. The other offices handled the problem. We got it fixed. It was no big deal. But I do have a problem with the backdating, and I have a problem with this attorney who's saying that, if I come to this public meeting, she's going to contact my mother and sister. That has been bearing on this, and I feel that was very unprofessional. So, and honestly, like I told Dave, I said what I was looking for, honestly, I know you guys can't make her, but I think Lori should be not made, she should, if she's the type of person that everybody says she is, which obviously she's not if she goes to church and talks about people. But to me, I think I'm owed an apology in that office in front of the people that she slanderized me with. And that, she needs to quit talking about me in the public, which I know you guys can't do anything about. I realize that. And I also think that this attorney owes me an apology, because number one, she had no right saying this. And I almost wonder if this email came to me by accident, because the whole email is, she says she and her, it's never you. So I almost wonder when she hit reply if she didn't forget to take me off the email. But that's another story. But I will tell you guys, Mr. Pearman did apologize for both of them, which I thank him for. That's very big, very professional of him. I have the utmost respect for that. But I just feel like the way they reacted, I am willing to apologize by both of them, and especially the one publicly, because I think that it is slander. And you guys know that you can't defamate somebody's character, especially professional character, when it has nothing to do with what you're talking about. And the backdating, really, guys, that's so, but like I said, I'm not, and here's the other thing, and this is what I told David as to what she could really respond, because, you guys, I realize you're dealing with 3 women. Okay, I realize that. I'm a nurse, I work with women all day. There's not many male nurses. We go off the deep end very easy. I know this, okay, and I can say that because I'm female, but we all do. Okay? Seriously, and I know you guys can't remark to that, but I will be the first to admit that. But when I'm wrong, and I'm going to be a big enough person to admit it. And I would think that people in a public position, being an attorney and a treasurer that was voted in, should have the same respect. And that's all I have to say.
Well, I apologize to you in our building.
And I appreciate that. I do. And I told Dave that, and I'm not that kind of person, guys. I really know. Yes, I was very mad that day. I'm not gonna lie. But like I said, that letter set me off. Maybe it shouldn't have as much, but when I thought it had been paid, and then I get this, and she's like, well, it doesn't mean they're gonna put it up for props tax. So, well, when I read it as a citizen, never getting anything like this before, that's the first thing that goes to my mind. Oh my God, they're gonna take the house. you know,
Yeah,
So-
that's what raises alarm bells in my mind is a potential policy or procedural failure. And so I intend to counsel our treasurer on customer service and you paid,
I paid last year's and this year's and I paid.
and you
late
paid
fee.
a late fee.
I absolutely did. Because
So
I mean, like I said, I don't have a problem paying it if I owe it. And like I said, I checked,
If-
it didn't come out of my account. You know,
I don't know if we can make any sort of pledge that we'll keep it off of any further. Actually, because I don't know.
Tax sales, you mean,
Well,
or the late fee?
well, would there be, before it goes to tax sale, would there be a tax warrant issued?
There, yeah, like we have to send out certified letters and.
And is it proper for us to delay or prohibit or, sort of intervene to keep that from happening?
Yes, so
Okay.
when we get the tax list and I present those to you before every tax sale, you can.
Okay.
remove the property. Do you have a copy that I can keep for my records? Of what you gave them?
oh, sure, it's always-
Just since you paid it, backfill anyhow.
No.
Right, no, but if she got receipts from the first time around when she paid it, before she paid it, the
Right.
second time with the late fees. We, because she says she has. It might be a while before she gets around to
Right.
digging up those records.
Right, absolutely.
I wanna give her the time to dig those out and not have to worry about. Us auctioning off her property.
Right.
She paid it, she's up to date now.
Yeah.
I think she did say she'd like to have a rebate if she.
Right, so,
Yeah.
so,
Oh, money.
So
You know,
when you-
so,
well, I-
late fee was-
I mean, I don't know how long it's gonna take you to dig up your old records, but because. I would think, to me, this is just common sense, it's not actual policy. Once you find those original receipts. You bring them back and get a refund for the second payment and the late
And
fees.
my office would be the one to do that part of it, if you do find.
Okay,
Well, my thing is, I don't think it went through the bank because it didn't come out of my account. I checked all 4 of my accounts. So I don't have a problem paying the taxes. I really don't.
okay,
That's what I'm saying. So you guys don't owe me that back at all. But
Okay.
that's why I'm thinking the check got lost or something somewhere.
well,
Which could
and then, well, that's my point, if you've got a receipt that you paid it and never got cashed, or, got lost somehow. Fine, you shouldn't owe late fees.
Right, right.
That's the only way we could do it legally, though. I'm
Right.
The government, we'd have to collect late fees.
Right, because it was,
By statute. we
for our
gotta-
records, it wasn't, and until she produces a receipt from the first time she says she pays it, those late fees would be valid, but if she's got a document saying she paid it on time and we lost the payment, then she's owed the late fees back, that she just paid to remedy the situation that,
Right, I just didn't want to lose my house. I'm like, here you go, let's just pay it and get it done. But, my whole thing is really not so much that, it's the way the letter came to me. I don't know if there's a different way they can word that. Because for somebody like me that, I don't know that you're gonna send me another notice, you know what I mean? I don't know that stuff. And I know ignorance isn't the defense,
It's
but
something that's standard across the state. It's
Yeah,
a
see-
very similar letter,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
so, and like I said, the treatment was, uncalled for. And I get it, as a nurse, we get cussed at, hit, we get, but you're not gonna cuss back at a patient, you just.
I just cursed out a nurse because of that.
See?
Not that long ago.
We get it all the time,
Mm,
but, but thank you guys for listening to me, I do appreciate it. And I hate coming to meetings and bringing bad news, I know in the cemetery board, I always, it's hard to be on the other side of it sometimes. So,
Or what you had to go through.
Yeah.
thank you guys, and thank you again, Dave, I really do appreciate it. Okay, and like I said, I just wanted you guys to know I wasn't the way I was being portrayed in that. I'm not. Okay, well, you guys have a good night. Thank you.
I'm trying to say one thing. Yeah, so, did you get the check from Jeanette Cerisi yet?
Got it today and made up a fund and deposited it.
So I just wanted to, because I couldn't remember where we left it with the commissioners, the council agreed that we would give Hamlet up to $175,000. They have a lighting project they're working on and some other economic development, but a big part of it, they want to spend on the water tower, to make sure it's stored properly and we're ready when somebody goes to use it. I can't remember if Justin said the commissioners also had to make a motion to let
I
Hamlet.
thought we
have-
already,
It's just the council has to create the fund and.
And we
appropriate
already,
money.
we already approved that for him, so I just didn't want to leave the commissioners out either, so.
I know, yeah, that was part of the discussion when we signed the, yeah. Yeah, nothing's changed on our end.
So you can go ahead and get that to them then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know that I talked to Kevin. I talked to him at the fish fry that night. He came in the kitchen, talked to me about, he's already talked to a contractor about going through there and the things that need to be done. And then, I don't know, there's some kind of sensor or something. He said they go bad over time, so like he'll wait to do that. It's like $4,800 just for this one sensor. But at least get it, kind of stored properly and some of the pipes worked out, but yeah, that way it's ready, so.
It won't be until after next meeting though, because I need the fund officially created before we can pay out.
My next meeting. All right, at least they can know that the lights and get them on the way.
Anyone else have any other business?
Last chance, Dan.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.